Hello and welcome to Paula Oxenmaker. Recently, some people started to call me feminist, which is quite funny because I equally and wholeheartedly support both men and women. However, I deeply believe that these are women who should be given more credit and appreciation nowadays, especially if they are as enlightened, intelligent, cultural, ambitious and determined as my today's guest. Women who have a clear vision of themselves, their career, their development and the world around them. And such person surely is my today's special guest, my fantastic client, dear student and a good friend, Aleksandra Polak.
So my name is Aleksandra and I'm a transactional lawyer here in Poland, and I've recently started my MBA at the Imperial College in London, and I want to use this MBA to switch to business, to add more to a tech company, to combine my legal insight and business skills. And this is about my professional role, and when it comes to what I like doing, I love traveling, I love reading about social history, and I also love learning languages.
So how did you get the idea of learning British accent? Did anybody inspire you, or it was your motivation, anything else?
It was my motivation. I always enjoyed speaking English a lot. I never had a speaking barrier, but I used to make many mistakes, so I mispronounced many words, I had Polish accent. And I noticed that foreigners, like my other students or just people I meet, or my clients that are French or German or from somewhere that are not natives, but they can speak a very good American or British accent, or in a way that doesn't reveal where they come from.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that it's actually possible to speak with a very good accent when you are not a native, when you are not born in a country, or when you haven't lived in a country in Britain or in America for a long time. And it was my dream when I was little. Like I had this kind of idea of having this golden fish that makes your dreams come true.
Yeah.
And one of them was to have this very good British pronunciation,
Really?
and to speak English like a native.
And was it already when you were like a little girl?
Yeah, when I was a little girl, that it was one of my dreams. And I considered it a dream at the time, and then I realized that it's very valuable, that people can do that. Foreigners who never live abroad can do that. You can learn it. And I also started to pay more attention to pronunciation now with this online dictionary with pronunciation option. And I started to search for a British pronunciation teacher. So when I realized that actually this is something which you can do, you don't have to be native.
It's really a very surprising thing for me that you seem to be sure that it is possible.
I think it's because I studied abroad for a time, and as a transactional lawyer, I've always had a lot of foreign clients, not only British or American, but mainly French, German, or Spanish, like countries which don't have similar language or similar accent to British. And many of them could speak with you a very beautiful English language.
Even from Spain?
Even from Spain, or even from France, and they were not raised in England. Some of them didn't even study in England, only in the US, so it seemed to me that actually you can do that.
But I mean, look how many stereotypes there are. I mean, everybody says that French speakers are one of the worst ones, or people from Spain speak with a horrible accent, and you are saying right now that it was completely different. Look how much stuck in this rut of repeating stereotypes people are, not to mention Polish people who say that, Polish accent is one of the absolutely worst in the world, which is something I don't agree with.
Yeah, I think that, of course, when there are a lot of people from France or Spain who speak with a very strong accent, and it's difficult to understand them. But I've met really quite a few of them who could speak with very, very beautiful English, with actually no foreign accent. So I realized that if you come from a country that is so much associated with not being able to pronounce English properly, and they can do that. And they were not born in England.
Exactly.
They were raised in France or Spain, they studied in France or Spain, so actually you can learn that properly.
Yeah, but usually it takes people years to realise it. Some kind of indoctrination, from my side. and really convincing them that they can do it, you know, and still the moments when there is like, you know, a bumpy ride and all the time the ups and downs and some kind of moments of doubt. So yeah, it's impressive that you have this feeling, this certitude inside you. And when it comes to the process, when we already started, was it surprising for you? Was it easy, pleasant, difficult, tough, if you remember?
I can remember the first lesson.
Oh, yeah, everybody does.
Yes, you gave me this long list of words and told me to read them.
Yeah,
you were just putting something down all the time. And then it turned out to me that I pronounced some words and I thought I did it properly, and I didn't. And already during this lesson, I understood the short vowels, long vowels, and it makes the whole word sound completely different, mean something completely different. But during that lesson, I realized, okay, so I have a horrible pronunciation. I should learn English from scratch. But I also noticed, okay, so there are rules that no one had never told me before, that you have short and long vowels. More or less no one told me before about short and long vowels. So maybe if I had known that, I wouldn't have this pronunciation problem.
Exactly. Yes. Especially, you know, these rules are very often logical and predictable. Yes, so you can really learn them.
Yeah, because I can remember several lines of words, and each of them was connected. No, each of them was connected with a different rule, like long A, short A, or something else. So then I noticed that actually you have. There are several rules which I have to learn, and then I will speak better. It seemed okay. I don't speak properly now, but there are rules to follow. I can
also,
improve.
I mean, you only prove me right now, that I think you are very persistent and determined, because usually when people are presented, you know, and they are confronted with all these rules, they seem to be very, very daunted and even frightened, because they feel that there is just, you know, so much to learn. Exactly as you said before, they need to start learning language from scratch, and it's just like, you know, the very beginning of the story, which is not true, because I think it's rather like, you know, let's say redirecting your English into something a little bit different, but it's still like yourself. I mean, it's still your English.
Yes, it is, but for me it meant, okay, so it's not only about being born in England, it's not about being like educated in British school or having this particular talent for accent. There are rules, you have to learn them, and then you can have a British accent.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And when we're already like, you know, deep and deep inside this process, and you started to see that there is a difference, did you have any opportunity to verify it? So, for example, speak with other native speakers, or maybe you got some comments or some reaction from other people?
Oh yes, I had actually. It was more or less exactly after a year when my best friend moved to London from Berlin.
I remember.
Yes, and another, like I had a very good friend from my studies in the Netherlands, and we hadn't seen each other for years. So I reached out to him, told him I would be in London. And he was supposed to pick me up from the station, and I just couldn't find him. So I called him, and he didn't recognize me. And then he said to me, like, where's your Polish accent? You lost your Polish accent.
Really?
Yeah,
he did. I didn't know the story. You didn't tell me.
I did tell you, I think. But anyway, it was very funny, because he when I called him, he didn't recognize me. And he was very surprised, and since then we've been in touch, and now I come to England quite often, so I meet him every time I go over, and he said that actually my accent has improved.
Yeah, because, you know, it's difficult for you to feel or hear some change when you don't listen to yourself on a regular basis. I don't know if you still have this recording from, like, you know, years ago when we recorded this very first meeting, but it's like, you know, it's like with physical appearance. When people see their face, like, you know, every single day, they can notice like teeny tiny differences. Same thing is with accent, I think. Yeah. So it's sometimes very important to hear this positive reinforcement from others. Apart from your friend, were there any other British people that praised your accent or made any comments about it?
Yes, quite a few. Like, for example, one guy that I was waiting for the shuttle bus with at the Luton airport, and we were chatting for quite a long time, and he was surprised to then learn that I was from Poland, not from England.
Especially now there are many Polish people in the UK, so he knows them most probably, like quite many of them.
Yes, he knew I came from Warsaw to England, to London, but he asked me I was on holidays in Warsaw. He asked me why I went for holidays to Poland.
To Poland?
Yes,
who would go to Poland for holiday? And apart from him, were there any other people later on that also said something positive about your accent?
Yes, usually British people. Like I just met a guy at the airport who thought I was British. Or a lady during this MBA interview process that she, like when it was already over, she said that sounded very, very British, and she wanted to know how I learned that. Like, if I left, she also asked if I lived in England. I said that I didn't, and she was okay. So you learned it. How did you do that? And I told her that it's a teacher in Warsaw, and she teaches different pronunciations, like British or American. And she was also impressed to know that it's possible to learn British accent.
But talking about MBA, maybe you will tell us what happened. I mean, how did it just come up to your life?
So I think it was a year ago when I started reflecting on my career and what I want to do in life. And I also noticed that what I enjoyed more was not legal issues or drafting legal provisions, but understanding the business of my clients, understanding why they want to acquire certain company, what products they want to develop, or how this joint venture works out, if they are happy with the cooperation, how they have integrated the teams. And I realized I want more business exposure. And I also have a lot of tech clients, and because of them I've been introduced to like extremely fascinating topics like artificial intelligence or blockchain. And I've realized that if I remain to be a lawyer, I would also have a secondary access to this knowledge, because there's a business concept, a client usually discusses it with a business consultant, and then they come to a lawyer and they just tell you, okay, draft it down for me. Yes, so that's why I decided I should, with my legal education, I need more knowledge and more business skills. I need to know how organizations work, more about finance, corporate finance. And I also need to realize what I want to do in life, because I've always been doing legal work. So I decided that MBA would be a good opportunity for me to gain this knowledge, skills, and also the confidence in myself, and to get more networking opportunities. So that's why the MBA. And I think it was a great idea for me, because this application process, it's exhausting. It's like a full-time job. It's absolutely exhausting. They ask you tens of questions. You have to write essays with a certain word limits. But it's really worth it, because you really have to think about what you want to do in your life, what are your goals, what you already have achieved. So I really decided what I am, at what point I am with my career, what I want, what my strengths are, what I have to work on further on. So it has already been beneficial for me.
Yes. I know when you said that you learned so much about yourself and you can talk about yourself just like, like never before.
Yes, exactly. That was it was extremely exhausting. So for a few weeks for me were looked the way that I went to work. Then I came back home in the evening, and I just had to focus again on my CV or on my essays or some
video pitch,
questionnaires, or a video pitch for the Imperial, for example. So there was a lot of work involved. Some of my friends just couldn't understand why are you preparing like the 10th or the 20th version of your motivation letter, of your resume. Yes. Yeah, but it was definitely worth it. Like now, when I have to focus on my goals and my strengths for this first personal leadership module at the MBA, I already have quite a lot of knowledge. I already know what I want to focus on and what I should start with. And it also gave me a lot of confidence to translate my legal background into transferable skills that might be useful for industry or for business. So it's extremely exhausting. It takes a lot of time. For me, I think from the day when I first contacted the schools until I was accepted, I think it was 6 months.
Yeah, I also remember that we met for these kind of interview sessions around 1st of November. And then actually, all in all, it was January, February and so on, right? So yes, but are you satisfied that actually all in all, it has turned out to be England and London? I mean, also talking, in the context of your accent, English learning and so on.
Yes, London, first of all, I first started with searching for a school in London because my best friend is based in London. I thought I would travel for this modular MBA. Yeah. And then I also started doing research about good MBA programs, and of course the best are in the US, but that's not workable for me to go to the US to study, because I would like to do an executive MBA when you can work, and now in the US it's quite difficult to get a working visa, even for skilled professionals.
Of course, yes.
So the best schools are French, Spanish, and the British ones. So I was searching for programs, and I've chosen Spanish and British schools because of the program. And I've chosen the British one because of this. It's focused on technology so much. It's one of the best technology universities in the world, and this is what I want to be more exposed to. And of course, there was also an English aspect of that. If I have put so much effort to learn British pronunciation, that I would like to be able to speak with other students who speak with the same accent and the same language. I have professors who also whose English is a native English, usually all native like English.
Yes.
Because I have the cohort is very diverse, and also professors, they come from different countries. But what I've noticed is that majority of them, like almost every one of them, speak with a very good English, like with almost British-like or American-like accent.
From?
Different countries. Many from, of course, there are British and American people, but a lot of French people, a lot of German people, a lot of Russian people, a lot of Asian people, like Chinese or Japanese.
And you want to say that they have nice British accents?
They have very nice British accents. Of course, when you have Asian students, you can notice that they struggle more, but they speak in a very clear manner.
They're also very hardworking, very determined, very devoted.
You can notice that they have put a lot of effort to that, but like French speakers or Spanish speakers are usually criticized so globally for not being able to speak English properly. Like sometimes, just during the conversation, it came out that they were from these countries, because usually the students speak such a good English that you can't tell where they are from.
Whoa. I think this is something that many people would aspire to have. Not even to have like a perfect American or British accent, but just to have this kind of equality, that you are judged by who you are, your skills, your competences, not the way you look like, not the way you sound. So simply, I think it gives you some kind of freedom, because you are transparent, but not in a sense that somebody can put like a label on your head that you are from Russia, you are from Poland, but simply you can represent who you really are with your skills, with this what you can do, what you are able to offer to others. I think this is some kind of privilege. Yeah.
Yes, and what I've noticed is that at the school there's a language center, and students can come there and they assess their pronunciation.
Really?
There's no goal to teach you British pronunciation, but the goal is just to assess the mistakes you make that might prevent you from being understood properly.
You mean at a business school?
Yes.
Amazing. I didn't know about that.
Yes, so you can use this.
Can you hear people? Can you hear? Amazing.
So the goal is that, okay, they assume you might have different pronunciation problems because you come from different language culture.
Yeah, of course.
But we try to, they try to tell what kind of pronunciation problems a person might have, and then to work on it, so you don't struggle during a business meeting or.
Amazing. Wow.
So exactly as you said, that you have a business meeting and people you talk to focus on what you are saying, on not trying to understand what you are saying.
Try to figure out what you might mean. Yeah. Yes. Amazing. So this is like a thorough preparation to be a successful business person.
Yeah, exactly. And then no additional charges. It's like they just assume, okay, you have a language problem. You might have a language problem because you are not a native, but okay, you should work on it. So that everyone can understand you.
But exactly, talking about it, so having this very prestigious course, because MBA, this is something that is considered to be, elite, right? It's very elitist. And my risk some kind of statement that we can say that having good accent is also an element of being a successful business person, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is, because as I said, all the students from this cohort, I couldn't really say where they were from.
And were they able to say where you were from? Also you have Slavic type of beauty, but let's put it aside.
No, they were not. They assumed I lived in England.
Really?
So it was kind of interesting for them to hear that someone flies from Warsaw to have lectures.
You're the only one, right? From Poland?
From Poland, yes, the only
yes.
one from Poland.
Yeah,
so yes, but I think yes, because then you, I think that when you speak with proper accent, maybe not the native accent, but when you speak clearly, then other people assume that you have already mastered grammar, vocabulary, and style, so that you are more proficient in the language.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they often, as you said, they don't struggle to understand you. They just focus more on the message that you want to convey. So maybe that they would really think more about your ideas, your concepts, your goals.
Yes, but do you think that British people, or generally native English speakers, do they really pay so much attention to it, or they pretend they don't, or they do but they don't say it? Because, many people claim that it's just enough to communicate, that, if they can communicate successfully, anyhow, with no matter which accent, they're just going to make it. And I'm thinking that we can see what is happening in the world when it comes to political situation, when it comes to what's happening in the States, when it comes to Brexit. And I'm thinking that maybe this element of, let's say, lack of blending in or just being associated with particular culture and country will be more and more important. What do you think?
I think it's very important in cities like London or Berlin or Paris, where international, everyone comes from somewhere, and it's not interesting that a Swede or a Pole or a Turk has come to work in our company, because they have tens of foreigners.
Of course.
So it's a very diverse place, and no one pays attention to where you're from. So that's why, trying to speak in a way that doesn't reveal it, I think it's better. Because then, of course, they are very tolerant. They don't, people in London are so diverse that they wouldn't discriminate anyone because of an accent. But you have to speak properly, because if you don't speak properly, if you can't speak a language properly, they assume you are not an educated person or not an experienced person. So yes, there are tens of people in London who can speak even English properly, and they can have a job in London or abroad. But I haven't met a person who is a successful professional doing a more high-skilled work who can speak proper English. They don't have to speak American or British accent, but they usually speak in a way that doesn't reveal their accent. Exactly. Or sometimes it reveals their accent, but they speak good enough to be understood with no problems.
I realized recently a very interesting correlation, that every single person who's a great, amazing speaker has fantastic verbal skills and very nice articulation, pronunciation, accent. Nobody, absolutely nobody from these people would struggle in their life. All of them are successful. Either have their own companies, or they are very fulfilled workers. They know what they want. They can express their ideas, intentions, dreams, demands clearly. I don't know anybody who wouldn't be successful, but I know people who are relatively successful. They are not fantastic speakers, but either they have already realized that they could achieve more, or they're working, for example, with me, or simply they start noticing that something more can be done. And if you've covered nearly all of the areas of your life and there is still something somehow limiting you, maybe this is exactly the skill of efficient communication. Because if you are understood, then simply you are improving your communication. But so many people still don't realize it, unfortunately. And not everyone is as privileged as you are to be in such kind of elite group to see it, and also to be supported. So I'm thinking if it's going to anyhow change, or rather it will be always reserved for some kind of privileged, prestigious group.
I think it doesn't have to. It's more about the way we learn language. I guess that having TV, films or movies in original language, with not dubbed but with subtitles, would help a lot, because then people will be exposed to how it is pronounced, and they would just acquire it in a way. For example, you said that I don't believe you have to belong to any elitist group to speak a proper language. I was in Romania last year. I was so impressed how good they can speak English and French. And it's not only professionals, but people who work in cafes, restaurants, shop very nice English with British or American accent, very nice vocabulary. And they do it because what I've read, they focus very much on English at school, and they don't have this. They have subtitles.
They don't have voiceover. Yes, yeah. I also know very good speakers from Romania.
So and of course, like I guess not everyone in Romania is which person that can afford schooling for their children. Like almost every person I spoke to in Romania, this were people working for shops, restaurants, waiters, barmen. They could speak much better English than high-skilled professionals from Warsaw.
Yes. That's.
So I guess it's a system that teaches them to speak good English.
Yeah, exactly. It's maybe a massive system. Yeah, and talking about education and studies, so well, good luck with your MBA. I will be keeping my fingers crossed for you. So what are your plans? What are your plans for the future and vision of yourself in the future?
So as I said, I would like to be more exposed to business, and I want to start with my transferable skills. So I would like to do transactions preferably in a tech company, then to know more about how the company is organized and structured and finance, and to be exposed more to technology.
Yeah.
And I think that technology, they are developing so quickly that it might be a problem soon to spot the good technology, that one that can really benefit your company. And then you have to know how to implement this technology, how to prepare the team, and how to restructure your organization. So I would like to deal more with innovation strategy. But yes, for that, I, as I said, I need to learn more about technology itself. That's why this MBA, and that's why I'm also ready to start with my transferable skills and maybe even more entry role.
Yeah.
But I would like to deal more with something that is as an ongoing process, like innovation and technology and strategy planning.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, and I'm thinking that you speak so much about all these things you're involved in and you've been involved in, so many people could I think admire you and simply would want to have such kind of level of determination and being like a go-getter as you are. Do you think you could give some kind of piece of advice to women who are still struggling to find out what they want to do in life or how they like to guide their careers, especially in Poland, that people I think still undermine a little bit women to some extent. And I think that women are not really appreciated as they should be. Do you think you could give them any piece of advice? Because from your perspective, I think you are considered as a very successful person, by many.
I think women. I think it's a matter of education. That women are all like girls. I thought they should try more. They should please someone else. So I guess that women are more modest. So that's why maybe they don't show off that much at work. They don't push their bosses for promotion or for pay rise, and I guess they should. Do you think they should do it? They should do this. They just should do this. They should think that I want something. I'm entitled to have it. So anyway, behave more in a way like men behave.
Yes.
They want something. They really
go and get it, right? They don't ask for permission.
Don't ask for permission. Don't try to explain yourself. Don't try to ask for it. Don't try to prove that you are good enough.
That you are worth it.
That you are worth it. Of course, everyone should be modest and everyone should work for everything, for every of their goals. But usually it doesn't work this way. Very often it's the way that you have to force your boss to give you promotion or force your boss to give you a pay rise.
Yes.
And just women have to overcome this awkward situation of just telling someone that I want something. It's nothing wrong to say I want more. And this is what women should learn about.
Yes.
And I think they also should pay attention to the way their male colleagues treat them. Like, for example, usually male professionals only shake hands with other male professionals.
Exactly, but not with women.
I've talked to a few of my colleagues about that, and they think it's polite because they think it's a woman who should offer to shake hands first, but it's from maybe more romantic relationship. When you are on a date, yes, but not at work.
Exactly.
But a good thing is that they don't do it to discriminate women. They think that what they do is proper.
Exactly, it's polite. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So it's. I think it's about culture and about also to overcome in your head that it's nothing wrong for the woman to be successful, because very often it's the way that they criticize for neglecting home or neglecting children or or being too bossy. Like men are not criticized for being bossy or for being demanding or for being aggressive. From a woman, you usually expect they're going to be calm, moderate,
submissive,
smiling,
delicate.
Yeah, so this is the way we are trained to be as little girls.
Yes,
these are the toys we get, the way we are treated at primary school, at kindergarten.
Yes, absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah. So you think that simply women should be more empowered, more courageous, and simply go and get it and fight for their dreams and fight for this what they're entitled to have.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like you did, like you've done.
Yes. Exactly, and I'm also happy that this majority of these MBA schools, they have noticed that they have many more male students than women. Usually it's like 30%, 70%.
Yeah, you're in minority.
Yes, exactly. But they have always a few scholarships for women, usually from maybe less developed countries. Like maybe a woman from Germany wouldn't get a scholarship because she comes from one of the richest countries in the world. But maybe a woman working for an NGO would. So so if you are a woman that maybe not, there are some chances to get a scholarship. So this like the MBA schools have noticed that there is a problem with women being empowered. Usually maybe because they have lower salaries.
Yes.
Because of the reasons we mentioned, or because they have kids, and that's why some employers still discriminate against women who have children.
Yes.
So I'm very happy that this, at least British or Spanish schools, they've noticed this problem. They want to change it. They want to have more women students. And when it comes to teachers, it's usually what I've been, as far as I'm already concerned, it's quite equal. There's a lot of female teachers, female professors, male professors.
Yes, because this is more lenient, delicate, I would say pleasant job, social, based on social skills. So this is more feminine, simply by definition. Yeah, but I'm really very, very curious how this MBA is going to affect your life. And generally how your life story will unfold. I wish you all the best.
Thank
with
you.
All your plans.
And thank you for the help. All the help you gave me.
That was my pleasure. No, I mean, it was amazing just to see how you developed, how determined you were, not that you were not giving up when, there was this first obstacle, then you simply pushed forward. And actually, all in all, you've ended up being exactly where you wanted from the very beginning. Right.
Yes.
So yes, there was a bumpy ride. The road was quite long, but all in all, you made it. So that's the most important thing. Fantastic. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you, my pleasure.
If you think that the world nowadays is deprived of feminine role models, then I hope this episode has proved you wrong. Thank you for following the series of inspirational interviews with amazing women I've had a huge pleasure to work with. This project is really very dear to me. If you want to know more of such stories, please follow my channel and follow me on my social media profiles. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.